Alright guys, how's it going? So, last night when I was doing the stream, we was asked the question basically, who would I prefer, Manuel Ugarte or Edison at Atlanta? And I had a quick look at Data MB Pro to have a look at the stats, and we kind of looked at that and saw that they're completely two different players. So what I thought, it gave me a bit of an idea, was to look at Anthony Gordon and Luis Diaz, and I've made a few sheets and stuff like that so I can share with you the stuff and everything like that. So basically what I've done is I've got Luis Diaz's stats for the past 3 years, Anthony Gordon's stats for the past 3 years on two separate things, and then I've compared both of their stats for the last year as well. So you can see them together basically and see who performed the best. So yeah, I'll share these with you now. We'll go through it all together now, and if this is something that you guys are interested in the future, like Liverpool are linked with a player and he's in a position, you know, so let's just say again like a DM for instance, like say it is like a Manuel Ugarte or a Fofana or whatever. If this is something you're interested in, I might do future videos where I compare their stats to say like who Liverpool played there last year, be it Alexis McAllister, Wataru Endo, you know, stuff like that. Or maybe even Fabinho from back in the day when he played at Liverpool. So, let's get started, guys. So, first up, we'll do the Luis Diaz stuff first. So, this is Luis Diaz from his past 3 years. Obviously, starting at Porto there. And if the first thing you can see there, looking at the difference, for me, guys, straight away is look at his number difference. When he was at Porto, very, very high numbers in everything. As you can see from the graph as well, he's pretty much on top of everything. He outperformed everything so far that he's done at Liverpool. So let's just go through it. So progressive carries, sorry, he's in the top 94.8% for the percentiles. So his successful dribbles were 91.8. He didn't score a single penalty goal when he was over there. His XG and his XA was very high at 97.8. His assists, again, guys, 80.5. Key passes, 98.9. Like, offensive actions, 95.1. And he only played 1,599 minutes. So for me, in regards to that to me says that, you know, Luis Diaz was probably one of, if not the top player for Porto last season, in the season that he was there. And it shows why Liverpool went for him in that regard. For me, like you can't argue with the fact that, you know, he stats wise, when Liverpool went to sign Luis Diaz, you can see why they went to go and do it. For me, like honestly, you really, really can. And then when you look at his stats for his first couple of seasons at Liverpool, of course, like the 22-23 season, that was only like halfway through the year. So I think we signed him in January. Am I right? No. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Signed him in January? I might be wrong there. Oh, I can't remember when we signed him now. That's not good. But he's got 62.9 progressive carries, 70.7 successful dribbles, 86.7 for non-penalty goals. His XG dropped down to 83. His assists dropped down to 62.7. His key passes dropped down to 77.7. And his offensive actions dropped down to 51.9. And he played, obviously, less minutes with there being less time there. 1,093 minutes. So, going on to last season, guys. This is the year we've come off of, and I think a lot of us can basically say that we think that Luis Diaz didn't do too cracking last year for me. Anyway, that's what I kind of thought. So you can see like his progressive carries did go up from the season before, but they're still nowhere near where they were when he was at Porto. His dribbles went down again, even further from when they were at Porto. His non-penalty goals again went down again. His XG and his XA did go up, but still it's not near where it was in Porto. Assists dropped down dramatically, like basically non-existent, I would say, in regard to that. His key passes also, again, they went up slightly, but again, nowhere near where they were at Diaz at Porto. And his offensive actions, again, went up, but still nothing compared. And he played a lot more minutes for Liverpool. Now, when you look at this, you could basically say that you think that Luis Diaz has been asked to do different things at Liverpool than he was at Porto. Slightly different way of playing. You know, at Porto, he probably was the key man, and a lot of the stuff was probably relied on him to get things done, and that's the reason why it is what it is here. But still, a dramatic drop for me in regards to what Diaz was putting out at Porto compared to Liverpool. And again, I get it, different leagues and so on and so forth, but, you know, if you were to look at Luis Diaz's time at Liverpool, well, so like last year in total, it says here that he played well, in the Premier League, he played 37 games, 8 goals, 5 assists. The season before, 17 games, 4 goals, 2 assists. And in his last year in Portugal, he played 18 games in the league, 14 goals and 5 assists. So, again, as you can see, the stats do talk for themselves in regards to why Liverpool went to sign him. But still, at the end of the day, it's not where it should be for me in regards to a Liverpool player, especially someone who's in the attacking front as well. It doesn't look well for me at all. So yeah, what we'll do is now we'll move over to Anthony Gordon for the past 3 years. So as you can see here, his numbers are a little bit, they're not all over the shop, but you can see the progression here. He has steadily got better in nearly every single aspect over the past 3 years, which makes sense as he's obviously got older. So as you can see here, starting in 21-22, progressive carries at Everton was 64.9. His successful dribbles were the highest it was at 74.8. His non-penalty goal, was at the lowest at 43.8. His XG and XA was at the lowest again, 39.7. His assists was at 40.8, which ain't the best, to be fair. His key passes was at 11.2. And his offensive actions was at 66.6. And he played 2,479 minutes. Now, on the graph, the blue is his last season at Everton. Going on to his first 6 months, I'd say, probably at Newcastle. Didn't he move in January as well? I think he did. Progressive carries dropped a little bit there to 57.1. Successful dribbles dropped to 56.6. His non-penalty goals went up to 60.9, so he'll probably taken off penalties there. His XG and his XA went up again to 43.9, which is probably better. It shows that it was around better players for me, given better opportunities. His assists dropped down to 0.3. His key passes went down again to 9. His offensive actions went down to 48.9, and he played 1,763 minutes. But again, that's his first season. And I think, again, if I'm correct here, that was not a full season. That was just from January onwards. So that's not too bad. His first full season, if this is, what I think it is, at Newcastle, so this is going on last year, his progressive carries was the best it's ever been at 82.9. Successful dribbles, not as good as they were in his last season at Everton, but a hell of a lot better than they were the year before at Newcastle. His non-penalty goals went up to 76.6. His XG and his XA went up to 81.2. His assists were so high, like he's in one of the highest probably in the Premier League there, 86.2, he's like double what he's done at Everton. Key passes, again, raising all the way up to 57.3. Offensive actions has gone up to the highest, slightly just a bit above where he was at Everton at 69.6. And his minutes that he played, he played a hell of a lot of minutes last year at 3,232. So for me, looking at this, you can see where Anthony Gordon is getting better and better year upon year. Obviously, he's a lot younger than Diaz, so you would expect that. But for me, just comparing these, going off the stats alone, guys, Diaz has seen a decline ever since he came to Liverpool. And you could say it's the different league. Like I said there, Portugal's a little bit easy, but then maybe Liverpool made the incorrect decision by signing Diaz in that case. If he can't replicate that in Portugal, then in the Premier League from Portugal, then why did we sign him? Whereas Anthony Gordon in the Premier League has just got better and better and better and better over time, guys. Now, if you were to compare the two players together for last year, guys, this will be the last page I've got to show you. So the pink is Anthony Gordon, and like the burgundy colour is Luis Diaz. So again, as you can see here, Diaz was better in the progressive carries by 0.4, let's just say, round it up. Gordon was better at his dribbles at like 0.3. Non-penalty goals, again, Gordon was up against Diaz, so he was scoring more goals from open play. Diaz's XG and XA was slightly higher than Gordon at just up by 9. But then Gordon's assist, this is where Gordon absolutely kills Luis Diaz. 86.2 compared to Luis Diaz's 22.4. Amazing. Key passes, again, Diaz beats Gordon by let's just say 20 points there. Offensive actions, Gordon beats Diaz by 3. And then again, Gordon played more minutes than Luis Diaz over the course of the year. So for me, guys, going off last season, for me, the two different players, maybe they've been asked to do two different things because they play for two different teams. But Gordon, by looking at these stats, is a better dribbler at the ball. He provides more assists for his team. Like, just look at that graph there. Like, he's miles above where Luis Diaz is there. But Diaz does do a little bit more in the key passing type of things, and he carries the ball a little bit better than maybe Gordon does in regards to all of this. But I think you've got more chance of getting a better player out of Anthony Gordon in the future than you would do if you were just sticking with Luis Diaz. And for me, just looking at this right now, if I was given the choice, I think I said this last night on the videos, on the stream as well, sorry. If I was given the choice right now, I would take Anthony Gordon over Luis Diaz. 100% I would do. There's a lot more chance of becoming a better player than Luis Diaz over time. And in some aspects, Anthony Gordon may be a better player already than Luis Diaz, according to the stats. But anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. I know it's a bit long. Let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. If you found this interesting, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Let me know down below, guys, in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.